Welcome back to Dom's Corner, everybody. I am your host, Dom Martino, once again, and sitting next to me is Mr. Jareth Love. Jareth, how you doing today, bud?
Good.
We're going to get into in-depth spoilers on Man of Steel here, continuing the DCEU reviews, so thank you guys for joining for this, and I hope we have a lot of fun. Should be fun. I cannot wait to dive right into it as soon as possible. If you guys didn't know, we're going to be doing these every single week. One thing I want to plug here real quick before we get started is our stereo accounts. Please go follow us at stereo. Jareth is Goblin King 871, right? At Goblin King 871. I'm at Dom Martino. If you want some extra content, follow us on stereo. I've been doing a lot with Sammy Ramirez. That's at Sammy Ramirez, and a lot with Ian. So that's Ian J. Schick as well. So make sure you go follow us over there. Hey guys, before we get started here today, please hit that like button below, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comments section.
And hit
the
bell.
And hit the bell for notifications. That's very important. Thank you. And so we're going to talk about Man of Steel, continuing on with the DCEU discussions. This one directed by Zack Snyder. So this is the movie that kicked off the DCEU. I personally, after rewatching it, still really love this movie. I'm in that camp. You can hate me if you want to. I think it's a really, really great time. I had a really fun time with it. Jareth, how are you feeling about it?
I forget Clark Kent's human father's name. I want to say Jonathan Kent, maybe. Maybe I think that's it. Pa Kent, whatever. If they took out that part, should I go with what I like or what I don't like first?
Whatever you want to start with.
Okay. If they took out like when Pa Kent died from that tornado, if they took that part out, this movie would have been awesome, I think. Like, just that part, because don't save me, I have to go rescue this fucking dog. Like, just no. Like if they took that part out, the movie would have been twice as much better to me, just because he could have saved his dad, or they could have just his dad died in an accident while he was traveling or something. It goes against everything that I think they were supposed to raise him for, and it hurts the movie for me. I don't mind him killing Zod, Superman killing Zod. I don't mind the terraforming. It makes a little less sense to me also in the movie, because wouldn't they want to stay gods and have superpowers? Wait, no, they would still have superpowers because of the solar radiation. Yeah. Just take out the death of Pa Kent. This movie would have been fantastic. That's about it.
Well, I mean, I'm going to disagree highly, and here's where I'm coming from, especially after rewatching it today, is that, to me, it doesn't go against the grain at all of what they were setting up, because everything that, this is a different discussion, whether you think this is something Superman would do or not, like the comic book Superman. I'm talking, if we're taking Zack Snyder's Superman, or his version of this character at face value, then we got to look at what was being set up throughout the film. If we look at what's being set up throughout the film, we see Kevin Costner telling him, the world's not ready for this, basically that another thing we got to remember too, is that when Clark saved the kids on the bus, that, Kevin Costner, he was upset. He was upset that Clark did that. And that's his father being upset at a child. Now, okay, of course, when he dies, to go save the dog, Clark Kent's no longer a child, and I understand that, but when your father gets upset at you as a kid, I feel like it's like one of these things, or this is what the movie was trying to get across, is that, that's ingrained in his mind. You know what I mean? And the other thing is he clearly has a really great bond with his father. So his father telling him no, that's like, I'm going to trust you on that. And I think that the dad just wanted things to happen naturally. You know what I mean? And not, instead of, if the kids, if the kids go down in the water on the school bus, then don't save the kids. Let them die. I know that's like a difficult thing to deal with, but as of right now, we cannot let this secret out until you're ready and more comfortable, or more mature rather, to make the decision to let this out. Because at this point in his life, he's not mature enough to let the world know what he is. He's not mature enough to make the decision to do so. He doesn't have all the answers. He has to go find them, and he does that throughout the film, where he's going through when he finds Russell Crowe again, Jor-El again later on. He's going through the film looking for the answers that he needs, and it's not until then that he decides, yes, I'm going to step up and be the hero, because now I actually know, where I come from, what the symbol of my people, stands for, which is hope, and that is what ultimately leads him to make the decision, in my opinion, to finally show the world what he is. He had a slip up one time, and his father was so upset about that. He'd rather his father go out, obeying his orders. I know that that's like difficult, but like that's what the movie is trying to get across. Yes, it's a hard decision, but he makes it because he trusts his father, and I don't think it goes against the grain of everything that was set up, personally.
I'm just going as a comic book fan, preemptively knowing what I know about Superman, though.
Right. I'm saying cut that off and take at face value what Zack Snyder's version of this is. If you take this at face value, the decision that he made, in my opinion, is actually more consistent with the film. And if you're talking about the comic book Superman, that's a different thing, because that's a different criticism altogether, in my opinion. Because if we're going to talk about like how this is different than the comic book Superman, then that's a different argument, in my opinion, or a different complaint. But like, to me, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't care. Like, no, this isn't Wonder Woman. It didn't cater to comic book fans. That's for damn sure. I'll give you that. That was not the goal of the movie. I'm saying though, if we take the goal of the movie at face value, and we look at it with the goal of the film, the decision that Clark makes is, to me, more consistent with that. That's all I feel about it, but that's, I don't know. I know you have different thoughts, evidently, but
yeah, I still just, it's like he knew how to, like, well, also the destruction of Metropolis, like him fighting back and forth through there, he could have gone like back, like try to get Zod out of Metropolis. He already knew how to fly. He already knew how to keep people out of danger, because he was already saving people throughout the movie.
Yeah.
That just kind of goes against even the character inside the movie. Even if we're talking about just Zack Snyder's Superman, that goes against his character a little bit, because he wants to save lives, but he's already putting them in danger by fighting Zod inside Metropolis.
Is there any way you could move your mic just a little bit further from your mouth, and then I could turn you up on my end, just because you're clipping just a tad bit here?
Is that better?
Much better. Here, I'll turn you up on my end. Okay. Yeah, we're good. But anyway, yeah, sorry, go, continue.
It's like, someone compared it to Dragon Ball Z when this came out, but in Dragon Ball Z, Goku actually takes the bad guys away from the city and fights like in the ocean or the islands or something. And like, no, it's just like you gotta like take them away from danger. I realize this sets up, I think they were this sets up Batman versus Superman.
It does.
Because of Superman's recklessness.
Yeah.
But I don't. They were supposed to make a second Superman film in between that.
Yeah.
That was slated. Like that was on schedule. And they never made that.
Yeah. This is really cool. That's a good point you bring up, though, because I mean, this is really cool too when you think about the fact that they're trying to set up Batman v Superman. If we go back to the Kevin Costner situation, and how, in my opinion, this is what this rings true anyway. I mean, when he's telling them, people won't accept it. You know what I mean? Like, they won't accept what you are. That we fast forward to Batman v Superman, his father was actually correct. Because
right.
Bruce Wayne, as we saw, does not accept this, and he doesn't accept what he is, and he doesn't accept all the destruction.
He accepts Wonder Woman, though, because he knew who Wonder Woman was.
Yeah.
And she was just as about as strong as Superman.
Yes, but the difference is that Superman, at the time that he was finding out about Wonder Woman and all that, he'd already known about Superman. The difference is he found a guy, and like you were saying about, the Zod thing, he should have taken him out. Exactly. I think that's the point. Because the point is, okay, so if he takes Zod out, then Superman doesn't make the mistakes that ultimately leads to what Batman v Superman is. Whether you like that film or not is a different conversation, but my point is, it does set that up fine, because the whole idea behind that film is the fact that Bruce Wayne is watching this guy cause destruction. Superman made a mistake. I think that was the idea, in my opinion. I think that it is flawed and is supposed to be. Because if Superman doesn't make the mistakes that he does, then Batman doesn't get as upset with him as he does, in which case we don't have that movie. Which, again, different conversation, but you know what I'm saying here. Like, I think
that they were... I know this is for the next discussion, but I feel like DC was setting up Batman versus Superman in a way to compete with Civil War.
Perhaps. But I don't know. I just don't think that's either way. I think that this is the way that Zack Snyder saw it. You know what I mean? Like, I think that either way it was, Snyder's vision of just, creating a through line between what he eventually wanted to do or what he wanted the concept of the Batman v Superman film to be. And I think that he realizes that Superman makes mistakes. His version of Superman is going to make mistakes, and he does. And I think right from the beginning, this is actually set up very well also. Well, not the beginning, but after Krypton and all that. When we're seeing him in the school, I think that this is a perfect way of telling the audience, like, this is going to be a Superman that struggles. He's going to, struggle mentally a lot more than the one that you're used to in the comics, and we're going to give you that. And this is, like, what I'm trying to set up. So I'm saying that if you take everything in the Vision on face value, then I think it plays consistently. He is a struggling Superman. He doesn't think about everything. He makes mistakes. In my opinion, that's what this is trying to come across as. But not everybody's going to be on board again with that direction because they're used to the comic book Superman. But this movie in particular, I don't feel like it's making the comic book Superman. I mean, obviously, it's not trying to make the, comic book Superman that we're used to. It's trying to give a new take into it. And I do feel like it's a constant problem, too, where a lot of people are just really angry when, we try to get new takes into characters that we know, but it's fine. It doesn't upset me. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't upset me when a filmmaker wants to throw in a whole new take onto a beloved character. It's like, if you want the Superman that's a little bit closer to what you like, then you could watch the Richard Donner one, but it's like, this is something different. I want to give you something new. And, then you have movies like the Wonder Woman that Patty Jenkins did, which is very similar to the Wonder Woman that you would want. And I think that's fine, too. You know what I mean? Like, I think either way you want to go with it, it's fine.
But the inconsistency in the universe is the problem with me.
Which one?
Well, okay, we're going to give you the Wonder Woman that you want from the comic books, but then we're going to deviate from the classic Superman. You see what I mean?
I gotcha.
The tone of the universe is inconsistent.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to argue with you on messy, inconsistent universe, because that's a fact. I'm just saying, if we take this movie, put it into a vacuum, and not to mention, this one came first, by the way, just saying.
Right.
So, to be fair, but I'm not going to argue with you on universe inconsistencies. This universe was extremely messy for a very long time. I mean, that's just, that's just how it's been. I mean, I'm not going to argue you on that. I mean, obviously, that's something that Marvel's done a lot better, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
is their consistencies in the universe. So, this film is in a vacuum. I do see what you're saying. Yes, inconsistencies in the universe, for sure. But to be fair, this did come first. However, I don't think either one works badly if you just take them as individual pieces. You know what I mean?
No, they don't.
So I'm saying, like, I get where you're coming from on the universe inconsistency of it, but yeah, to be fair, it was the first one to launch it, so if anybody was inconsistent, it's the people that came after. That said, it's kind of hard to judge them because they were the filmmakers that came after Zack Snyder were hired to make it different and to fix it, quote unquote, or whatever. You know what I mean?
It's like it's just I blame Warner Brothers on this. They're missing they're not. They don't have like one. They have Jeff Johns that was put at the helm later, like the guy that wrote a bunch of these comic books, and it's just like, okay, why did you put the guy in here later? Well, no, they put him in right after Green Lantern sunk, and that sucked. And I think that was originally supposed to launch the DCEU, and that movie tanked. And then they decided, nope, we're not doing it. And that's I think that's another. I mean, it's a fine movie, but it's just the other things kind of hurt it. And I've been watching this is kind of a side note, but still related. I've been watching Krypton on the CW Seed, and they take a lot. What I like about the movie, they take a lot out of it. Like that, as a Krypton, you're predetermined by birth who you're going to mate with, what your destiny is, because they scan your DNA and know what you're going to grow up to be. And that's, I mean, he was the first natural born Kryptonian in generations, and that I like that. And I like a lot of bits and pieces out of this film. I liked Krypton. I liked Jor-El. I liked I liked that Lois already kind of knew who Superman was before he came into the Daily Planet, because usually it's the other way around.
Right.
And it works, but and I kind of wanted to know, like, who the other bad guys were, though, than Zod. Like who was that woman? Who was the giant ass dude?
That's fair.
That was fighting them.
That's fair.
It was like, okay, could you give them a name at least?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of watching this too, thinking about them as well. I won't lie to you. Like, that was one of the things that was in my mind too. If there's a flaw, that's definitely one of them that I see in the movie, because it's true. Like, he does have, it's like, and Michael Shannon, by the way, I think he kills it as Zod. I think he does a great job as a character. He's an awesome Zod. Yeah, but you're right. The everybody surrounding him could have been expanded on a little bit more. As much as I love the opening in Krypton, I think it's like gorgeous and it's all done very well. It's still like we maybe could have taken a little bit more time to maybe expand on some of the other side characters as well. But That said, and I'm not saying that we don't dock it from the movie because of this. I'm just saying that this is the one that Snyder never got to make an extended cut on. So I don't know if he had more that could have done that,
I
but
don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. But either way, yeah, I actually I enjoy all the Krypton stuff. I like Zod. I really love Michael Shannon as Zod. And just like you, loved Jor-El. Russell Crowe thought he did a really good job in that role. But yeah, we did. I felt like we were getting to know Jor-El. Didn't really get to know Superman's mother. Not that the
Yeah,
characters are like super relevant past that point anyway, but it's
not
just
really.
like there is a little bit of imbalance on the characters there for sure. So I agree with you there. I mean, yeah, there was some super cool side characters that they could have utilized maybe a little bit more in the forefront of the thing. So I could give you that. That's 100% a fair critique that you would have definitely liked to have learned about them for sure. There's some explanations throughout the film that can feel a little bit convoluted, um I feel like Zod's entire like motivation for doing what he's doing in the first place is one of these it's kind of a convoluted thing. Like it's almost like if you blink you're gonna miss it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because it's like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
in the heat of conversation. So that's another one of my problems here too. Is that it's just definitely like a lot of that is just it's in the heat of conversation. And then if you went up to go use the bathroom in the theater, you're probably gonna miss certain things and you might lose your spot in it. But then again, I can't blame anybody for wanting to make a movie that, oh boy, you have to pay attention to as well. But either way, I see where you're coming from on a lot of this. And see, okay, so I mean, talking just outside, I mean, talking performances alone. I love Cavill as Superman. I think he's great in the role.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think a lot of people, most people agree on that, whether they think the movie was good or not, that they actually did enjoy Henry Cavill in the role. Like they thought he was really good. I don't know, but that's the consensus I've kind of grown to know throughout the years. But Cavill does really awesome in the role. I do like Amy Adams' casting as Lois Lane as well. I like the casting, I think, across the board, I guess is the point I'm trying to make. I think that the casting really works. I can't think of one weak casting in this, like, in all honesty.
No,
Yeah.
even the redhead guy from IHOP, that manager, you
That's
could
right.
point out, so you could tell that he knew who Superman was because he was the bully. Then he was saved by on the bus, and
Yeah.
yeah, he you could tell like, huh, is that Clark?
Right.
Like those little performances, you could tell that they were acting like they were supposed to in character.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, one of the scenes I also really love. I do like the scene in the beginning where the structure comes crumbling down as well. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, that was really good. Where he's struggling to kind of keep that up. Again, I think that the seeds are kind of planted for this being a Superman that's going to struggle. Like more than we've seen in the past. He's gonna be
right.
flawed, and I think that that's another piece of that. And then just the way that we transition to him, he's in the water, think it's a great shot, and then we transition into him as a child. Like I think all that just works really, really well. The whole this is another thing that I actually think even goes against the grain of the character that we this might have been the one step too far to me for our flawed Superman is that when he's just walking down the trail and then he just steals a shirt from some like random van. Like I
Oh
thought that was like,
yeah, on the beach.
yeah,
Yeah,
I was like,
not on the
that
beach,
was a
off
one
the coast.
step too far, maybe. I get that he's supposed to be flawed, but he's not a thief, you know what I mean? So that was one of those that I was like, okay. But, yeah, I don't actually have a problem with most of the things. If there's purpose behind it, then I'm okay with it. But, like, I understood he was shirtless in the moment, so in which
Right.
case he's going to need a shirt. But I don't know. I don't know. It was a little much. I don't know. But yeah, either way, excuse me. I'm trying to think. I love the way that it deals with media in the film, like the way that the Daily Planet is kind of dealt with. I enjoy the way that because they really do
Oh
kind
yeah.
of explore like the inner workings
I
of it.
I do have another complaint.
Fair enough.
Um,
Okay.
they could have okay, a very good uh tie that Lois Lane has is that her father is in the military. He's a general. They could have spun with that. Like they never mention it at all.
True.
Like I'm like, okay, is she, like
Yeah.
even okay on the Lois Superman and Lois uh TV show that just came out like last week or this week. They they mentioned that. I mean, Uh, I mean, it's within like the relationship of Lois and Clark, and uh, like how are you gonna like? I don't know how like understand like Zack Snyder wanted his own vision, but that you can build upon that character development with the supporting cast.
There is
Like
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
like there's this confrontation between Lois and her father because her father doesn't trust Superman.
Right. There is a lack of relationship building for sure between Lois and Clark because in this movie because yeah, I mean I gotta be honest, like even by the time like they're together, I guess you could say, by the end of it, I'm kind of like feeling like a little bit empty or unsatisfied with that because yeah, there's definitely some more that they could have done. I like them both individually, so like I guess I found them both to be extremely likable in the movie, so I guess by the end of it, like I was okay with it, but still left very unsatisfied. You know
There's
what
a
I mean?
lack
By
of
like
chemistry there.
maybe, yeah. I mean, yeah, they could have. I think it really starts to hurt in Batman v Superman when we start to see them together. I think that really it really starts to hurt it more. Like
Yeah,
I'm accepting of it here because again I like them both, but then like when we actually see what a relationship between the two of them looks like as far as like a dating relationship, I do feel like it hurts a little bit by the time we get into Batman v Superman because there was definitely a little bit of a lack of setup here for it. It has it, but it's lacked. It's there, but it's not as strong as it could have been. I guess is my point. It's there. It's just I don't know, nothing really to spark the fire. I guess way, I mean, so to
no,
speak.
and
Yeah.
it's like, where's the romance? I mean,
Right. Right.
it, I, I, I don't know. I mean, Zack Snyder did Watchmen, and you could tell those characters had chemistry.
He also had more
And
time with Watchmen, but it's
but
not making an excuse. I'm just saying that like yeah, but still anyway. But anyway, go ahead.
I'm just comparing
Fair
that
enough.
film came out before
Yeah.
um before this, and so it's like how to make characters have chemistry.
Yeah.
Why are you like delaying it? Like Superman and his father had the most chemistry in this movie. That
Yeah.
uh, and then it went him and his mother, and him and Zod were. It's him and Zod had more chemistry.
I know. I was
back
going
and
to mention
forth.
that. I was waiting on you to say it first, but I was going to mention that if you did.
And that
Zod
annoys me
definitely,
because Lois and Superman should have more chemistry
yeah.
than the freaking bad guy. Like
Yeah.
I get it, but it just we're missing that buildup.
Yeah. I was gonna say that if you hadn't mentioned it, I was gonna mention that for sure because but I'm glad it's there because it's like at the end of it, I think that scene becomes all that more effective when he finally twists his neck and the classic Cavill yell comes out of him.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I think that's so effective in the moment because of the chemistry that they did build between him and Zod in the movie, but I was gonna say like it's still a bummer that we couldn't have maybe gotten a little bit more with Lois and Clark on that front. So, yeah, that's upsetting for sure. If I could geek out about a great moment in the movie, though, that is definitely when Kal-El finally gets in the suit. Super dope. I thought that whole thing was just incredible. When he's finally flying and everything. I mean, they played that extremely well. Definitely made me geek out quite a bit. I think the suit is super dope looking,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's just yeah, I loved it. Loved everything about that, and loved the way that, again, the struggle that they keep planning in the movie with him, and even the flying aspect a little bit too. So that's just, yeah, I thought that all that just worked really extremely well. However, if we're gonna go like, I understand that it's like comparable if you're like a comic book fan, maybe a little bit more, but like on the same hand, it becomes a little convoluted when he sees his father again, and then he's like, his dad is just oh, I'm just like a part of the consciousness.
Right.
It makes sense, like, to me, but like if you just are walking, this is the first comic book movie you've ever seen before, you're gonna be like, what? You know what I mean? It's got kind of that thing to it, but on the same hand,
Right.
I'm not like pissed off overly. It's just a nitpick, I guess. But
I get your point, because it's like, I mean, it's nothing new. Even like, if you've seen a science fiction film, like, oh, I uploaded my consciousness to
Right.
this robot,
Right.
or I like, that's like, I don't know. In different versions of Superman, he has access. Like, okay, I wanted to see the Fortress of Solitude also. Like,
Yeah.
that's like, that's how he has access to all the Kryptonian knowledge.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. They didn't really
And
get
then,
into that.
yeah, it's like, that's never even made.
Yeah.
It's not even. That's yeah. That I know that this is a gripe as a comic book fan, but that's an essential part of Superman.
Well, I kind of agree with this one, because then, like, okay, by the time he gets to his father, you know what I mean? Then you're kind of sitting there like, okay, so what are the rules here? How long can his father stick around? You know, like, how often can he go see his father? Yeah, so you feel a little bit empty in this film individually, or just, yeah, when he goes to see his dad a little bit, because you don't really feel like they've established much to it. But like, and then even like when you see the dad a second time, you're like, I still don't get how this is, like, I get it, but like, I don't understand, like, the rules to this. I don't understand the rules to life after death here. You know what I mean? Or
Right,
like the
right. Well, his consciousness was uploaded to the whatever, the Superman key thing that
yeah.
and that was destroyed. But so I guess his father's consciousness was destroyed as well. I don't know.
That's my point. They don't establish that. Yeah, but
yeah, and I don't know, man. It's that's just an essential part of what Superman is to me. I know. But yeah, there are some of the things lacking in this movie that I'm just like, why didn't you put this here? What,
right.
you could have done this. And,
it definitely has those. Yeah, definitely has those.
And, I don't know.
I don't know. I accept it from the standpoint of a comic book movie fan and a sci-fi fan and all that. Like, I accept it all, but I love this movie still. I think it's gorgeously shot. It's just wonderfully acted. The themes that it's trying to get across are there, but if we're gonna dive deep, there are a couple things missing for sure, and that's like where my flaws are for the most part. Like, there's just some things that could have been touched on more, I guess, is where my flaws kind of start and end with it. Other than that, it's just like, for the most part, I really do love the movie overall. I have a good time every time I put it on. I don't feel shitty afterwards. So anyway,
yeah, they also mentioned that he has the codex embedded into him genetically.
Yeah.
So here's an idea for the DCEU: have kids with Lois, like, and have that's what they did with Superman and Lois.
Yeah.
The TV show, they have twins, and one of them has superpowers.
Yeah.
Like have a kid that it turns into Superboy. Like that's what they did in the comic books, and I mean they could still do that. Like Superman comes back, so
For sure.
I don't know, but then like I with this Flashpoint movie coming out, I don't know if they're gonna redo everything, and I,
Who knows?
but then Supergirl's in there, so
True. That's
I
true.
don't know, man.
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying. Like when we take this movie and then look at where we're at now, it doesn't really compute for sure. But like I don't know. But then again, we're kind of at a spot where we're gonna get the hopefully completion to the vision of all this. So here in a little bit. So I'm hoping
Right.
that maybe some things will make more sense. Maybe the entire vision it'll work, and then it's like, okay, that's the closing to the saga that's the closing to this saga of the DCEU. Let's start up a new saga of the DCEU and do better this time around. That's kind of how I'm hoping it goes. You know what I mean? Or be more consistent, right. Just make it more cohesive. It's fixable, but it's gonna take some work, I think, and I hope that we at least get a good closing to at least with what Zack Snyder wanted to do, which I agree with you does not feel consistent with what everybody else wanted to do here. So I agree with that. I really like Zack Snyder's vision. I like both visions, but none of them go together. That's the problem.
No.
That's the bigger problem here, is that I do like both sides of the vision. I like the sort of fun, a little slightly more cartoony aspect that they were trying to play here, and then I also like the Zack Snyder trying to be ridiculously dark vision that he was trying to play. I like them both for different reasons, but it just, again, that's why I think they're going to close off the Snyderverse, if you want to call it that. Just put a stamp on it. That's why I think Ben Affleck's popping up in the Flash movie to kind of pass the torch, just to be like, okay, all right, we're moving on. We're going to do better here. That's going to be the end of that. But yeah, I get exactly where you're coming from. Speaking of or Lois and Clark, how is the show? I'm interested. I'm interested.
I like it. They end up, well, okay, spoilers. They end up moving back to Smallville. They lived in Metropolis. They end up moving back to Smallville because his mom dies, and they get the farm. And one kid is into sports and makes the quarterback just as a freshman. And so the parents think that, oh, he's doing so good at sports that he has the super genes, the Krypton genes. No, it's the actual the kid that's really nerdy into video games and has social anxiety, and I mean, it has its corny moments, but it's a little bit balanced out because I'm more intrigued about these new characters, the twins, that like they've never done this before. Like they've done it in the comics, but they've never had like sibling rivalry over with Lois and Clark having kids.
Right. For me, it's like, as a guy who never gave a shit about the CW stuff, like, this is the one, to me, that actually looked good. Like, it looked grounded. It looked like a little bit less of the other stuff that I'm not too big of a fan of that the CW typically does. So
it's pretty grounded. I mean, it has some soap opera-ish moments, but I mean, like, it talks about, like, oh, there's a math problem in Smallville, like it's closing down, like all this small town's closing down and being bought up. Like it's really grounded in a little bit of reality, and like there is a little like the soap opera moments of like, oh, he doesn't have enough time to be a father because he's too busy being Superman,
right.
and just all this crap, and then the theory is that the new bad guy is a Lex Luthor from another universe when they did that Infinity Crisis crossover.
Oh, I see. It'll be Jesse Eisenberg. I'm just kidding.
It's actually a black guy.
Hey. Anyway,
Wait,
that's. Oh, it is. It's a black guy.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a yeah, and but he has like all this access to like technology that I don't think Superman's aware of in this universe. It works out, and like even this Lex Luthor knows Kryptonian, like the language even, and he's left messages for him at nuclear plants that he was going to explode and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a lot better than I don't know. Like the first episode of Flash was, and same thing with like Arrow. Arrow, they were like turning him into Batman. Then that got annoying to me because it was. He was even fighting Ra's al Ghul. I'm like, just stop it. Just don't give any other bad guys. And but yeah, I'm interested in seeing what they're going to do with this Lex Luthor that we're not really familiar with. It's not John Cryer at all.
Yeah,
it's a completely different Lex Luthor.
That's good. Yeah, the idea of John Cryer playing Lex never appealed to me anyway, so I that's just me. I know everybody's got their opinions on it, but anyway, back to this movie. So Man of Steel. Another thing I'll point out too is I love Hans Zimmer's theme for Superman here. I think it's really, really great. Somebody took his and Richard Donner's and put them together, and they actually, for some reason, him and John Williams. I'm sorry. The John Williams one, and then they put them together, and they actually work really, really well for some reason together. And like, I go find that on YouTube if you haven't watched it, but it's a really cool little thing. But yeah, the score throughout really works very well. The entire action sequence, I think that like at the end there, like I think the stakes are really there. Like I actually do feel the impact of them all. I think that all that stuff worked really well. I don't know about you, but what do you think of the big battle at the end? I guess, or
I mean the stakes were real. It was just kind of weird. Why I get why they chose Metropolis, I guess.
Yeah.
But actually, another gripe. They knew that. They knew that there was more of a population in Metropolis, but that Superman had more of a connection to Smallville. So why didn't they just take this giant tower thing to Smallville and start to destroy it?
It's not a bad point. I mean, yeah, it's possible. Yeah, that's true.
Like the gravity, yeah, it was terraforming, but yeah, it does make sense why they would choose Metropolis, but he never showed up in rescuing people in Metropolis, like
right,
like I guess it's like maybe an hour drive to Metropolis. I don't know, like it's like maybe the closest hub of major city from Smallville, and
yeah,
it's just like how big is Smallville? Like,
true.
Okay, it has a Sears and an IHOP. What's going on here?
Yeah,
I thought it just had like one street and like, but it has a Sears and an IHOP. But does it have a mall too?
The Sears.
So why are people going?
The Sears product placement cracks me up on one end because it's like barely a company anymore, and then like on the other end that it's like it's so evident back there. It's just I that cracked me up for sure. But
it's like, how big is Smallville if it does have a Sears? Why does it have a Sears? Like, I'm
true.
I'm just thinking about like, it's supposed to be a small town. You're taking the small town aspect out of it.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, if we're gonna nitpick very much, I get where you're coming from because it's like, yeah, that was just. It was weird that there was this little spot in Smallville that was like the town. You know what I mean? But like,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was just like, yeah, like a Sears. The Sears was ridiculous. Let's be real. It didn't belong there at all. Like, you could
No,
have taken that out.
it belongs
easily.
in Metropolis.
Yeah.
You go to Metropolis if you want to go to Sears.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel too. But yeah, as somebody who comes from a small town, I can tell you I ain't got a Sears near me. So I'll tell you right now, yeah, this movie, it's. I love this movie, but again, that's the other thing. It goes back into my flaws that there are definitely things that could have been expounded on more, and that's like where my flaws kind of start and end with it. Which again, establishing Smallville, they didn't really do because like the farmhouse is on point. That's exactly what I expect from Smallville. Yes. But then like you get outside of that, it's not on point anymore. So it's just
no, like what's the population? Just like show us the population sign.
Sure.
Like
could have been establish one of the papers or something. I don't know. Yeah, something as easy as that maybe, just so we can. That's true. They could have probably snuck that one in there and just for us Uber fans to see and just wanting to nitpick the hell out of this thing. That might have helped them quite a bit, I would imagine. Excuse me. I'm trying to think here too. I mean, I'm trying to think of some of the other great things about this that I really enjoy too, because I mean, if we're gonna talk about the school bus scene, like I actually love that scene as a scene. Like I think it plays really well. It's just again like you know, I mean, I think it just really sets up everything for the future of the movie. And then it just kind of shows, like, again, and I get this, that, like, comic book fans don't like origin stories that much. You know what I mean? Because they're like, we just kind of want to dive in now because we, especially
they're really
when we've had them before.
Yeah, they're like, Marvel does origin stories a lot better than DC has done.
Yeah.
It's just, overall, they have. Yeah, if you kind of stray too far away from the origin story, that's where comic book fans start to gripe.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, it doesn't bother me. I just, yeah, and I get where the divergence is there, but like it doesn't bother me if it's. See, when I watch this movie, I'm like, I rarely even look at it as like the first Superman movie. Like it's definitely Superman centric. There's no doubt about that. Don't get me wrong. But like, it's called Man of Steel, which is referring to Superman. But I also just kind of look at this as like part one in the trilogy that I'm gonna make here, or you know what I mean, that Snyder was gonna do. That's kind of how I look at it. That more or less is like
there was supposed to be a trilogy.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna get it. Not his.
Well, if you want to count a trilogy, you could say.
Well, we're gonna get it in the sense of Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Justice League, like his completed trilogy too. Yes. So yeah, that's another thing here too. Is I can look at it that way too, where I'm looking at it as part one of like that trilogy. You know what I mean as well. Right. So it's like I'm hoping. Again, like Justice League could come out, the Snyder cut of it, and like it could not pay off at all, and I can go back and watch this and be like, now it really is a bummer.
I have high and low expectations for what they're doing with Superman in Snyder cut, because they're putting the black suit on him, and Zod had the black suit on.
Yeah.
So it absorbs the solar radiation, which is this healing thing, but it also means that he is accepting himself as a Kryptonian also.
Right. That's very true. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see kind of where the direction goes. I mean, I know people like already are not on board with the direction they're taking Snyder's taking Superman here. They're already not liking it. Then there's a lot of other people like me that really do love it. I mean, it's this whole thing that Snyder's been doing has been very divisive thus far, so it'll be interesting to see like how this all goes down. But no, in my opinion, I think that this is just I'm hoping anyway. I'm hoping that this is all part of whatever plan Snyder had. Again, not the plan that everybody else had, but it's still what he was wanting to do here, and I get that. But I think that for the most part, I actually this is something I want to bring up too. Like, I think that the scenes with Superman and Diane Lane, not his blood mother, but his mother, I think that stuff plays really, really well here too. Adds quite a bit of levity to the film. I think that really works out very well. And when Zod is coming in, by the way, I like how they kind of realistically tried to play that at first as like UFO sighting. Like, I thought that was super smart. That was cool. Worked out really well when it's all coming up on the, TVs and everything. Like, it was almost like, you kind of got the horror movie vibe for a second. I thought that, I think that worked really well.
One more gripe too.
Go.
When he was coming into the ship for the first time and meeting Zod with Lois Lane, then he was adjusting to the Kryptonian atmosphere, and he had this nightmare with Zod. That was never explained. Like was Zod putting that into his head? Give us some like backstory. Like, was he injected with something? Was there a gas that was put into the atmosphere to make Kal-El fear Zod?
Yeah, I don't know. I was actually personally more on board with that one being ambiguous, or like I'm okay with it. But then again, if they'd gone ahead and explained it, I guess I wouldn't have had a problem with it either way. Like, I'm okay with the choice to make that a little more ambiguous and to keep you guessing. Like, I'm okay with that one. That one didn't bother me, and to be honest with you, like, I thought that was okay. But that's just me. Everybody else is gonna have their own opinions. I get that. Like, listen, again, just to wrap this review up here, and just to be honest, like, again, I get that, like, everybody's got a Superman that they dug in the comics, and then I understand it. And then this movie, it doesn't give a shit about its fans. That's for damn sure. Like, it doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't. That to me, I personally, I respect that. Like, I respect wanting to put a new take in it and just to complete your vision without the fan service. And I also respect those that, kind of do the more fan service stuff too. Like, either way, I'm good. I don't know.
Will this be the DCEU's Last Jedi?
No, I think Batman v Superman was the DCEU's Last Jedi. Actually, I don't think either of them were, because honestly, I think that both of these movies were worse only because, like, in terms of The Last Jedi was probably worse than like both of these in terms of the blow up. But like, if I had to compare one, I guess, like, I would say it was Batman v Superman, but like, I don't know. Like, probably Batman v Superman. I feel like people argued more over that one. Like, when we're talking about that Martha scene, I think people, like...
Oh, yeah.
They slammed into each other about that one. I can't wait to get into that. That's
Next
gonna
week.
be fun. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. But yeah, just to wrap it though, like, I get everybody has their ideas about it, and it's all good. No, I think that Man of Steel, honestly, for this one, actually, as far as, like, if you research the reception on it, this one still has the majority on it. Like, I think that the majority do still enjoy Man of Steel, as opposed to where Batman v Superman was the one that's closer to like a 50-50 kind of split. Yeah, the majority still actually, at the very least, like this one. It's not like there's one or the other on this one, because there's people that are just so in the middle on it. Like, they're almost divided in their own minds, I feel like. So I would say that Batman v Superman's definitely the one that was just like, oh, that's it. That's the split right there. It's blown up. Got people arguing for sure. But anyway, guys, I still love the movie. Jareth, you might not. That's okay. We're all here to speak our minds, and that's okay. Guys, hopefully we gave you some pretty good insight into how we feel about it. I hope you guys are having a lot of fun with these DCEU reviews. If you are, let us know in the comment section down below. Next week, we'll start talking about Batman v Superman. Another quick thing to plug, we've been doing the Harry Potter reviews on this channel, so individually every week, so make sure you go check those out as well. We just did Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets, so make sure you go and check those out too. So yeah, thank you guys very much for joining here, and this has been a lot of fun. And yeah, Jareth, before we go, where can people find you?
You can find me at Recovering Fanboy on Instagram, and Goblin King 871 and Jareth Love on Facebook.
Yeah, and then for myself, you can find me at Dom_Martino_ on Twitter and Instagram, Dom_ Martino _ official. And please go follow us both on Stereo. Jareth is going to be Goblin King 871 on Stereo, and I am at Dom Martino on Stereo. Sammy Ramirez and Ian Schick are both on there as well. Sammy is Sammy Ramirez, Ian is Ian J. Schick, so make sure you follow them both. And all of that will be in the description down below. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in this Man of Steel review. This has been a lot of fun. I loved revisiting this one. So yeah, just definitely keep checking out the conversations, and we'll see you guys next week. And make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave the feedback in the comment section, and share this with your friends. But most importantly, Jareth, hit that notification bell. We will see you guys next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
See ya.